Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today I'll be grading each AFL team's season. So let's get straight into the video. So we'll start with the Adelaide Crows. I thought their season wasn't as bad as what people thought they were. They definitely achieved more than what we'd think they would do. Beating teams like Richmond, Western Bulldogs and Carlton, who were all very, very close to making the 8. Talking about you, Carlton, but Adelaide, I reckon I'll give them a C, but like a really, really low C, like a C minus or something. It wasn't a huge season, but it was a good enough season to get a C for me. And well, Brisbane next is going to be very, very interesting what people think of this call, because you know people would expect Brisbane to be up there with the top 4, making the top 4, which they did not. So people will probably give it like a B, but then they did get to the prelim finals, so I think you've got to give it an A. And now they're going to add players like Jack Gunston and Josh Dunkley. Well, they will lose Dan McStay and Tom Berry, but like the only players they're going to lose that I've heard so far. Pretty good recruiting by the Lions again. And Carlton, well, their season was really, really good. They were in the top 8 for every single match, except for the last minute, the last round, and that's what cost them the flag. I mean, their season overall, you'd probably give it a B, but because they didn't make the finals, you'd give it a B minus towards a C plus. So stick it in the B for now. Next you got Collingwood, and of course the Pies had a pretty good season this season. Look, they didn't go very, very far. Well, I mean, they did go very, very far. And lots of people weren't even expecting them to get out of that, you know, bottom 6 range and even bottom 4. And they managed to come top 4 and they overachieved the Pies. This could be a bit biased, but I'm going to give us an A+. I certainly do think we had an A+ season. We achieved a lot. And we need more seasons like that to come. Essendon. Now, this could be a bit harsh on the Essendon fans, and don't hate me for doing this, but I'm sticking you an F. It's because you've had such a bad season. It was so bad that, like, they didn't even have a coach for a little bit. Apparently it just got announced yesterday that Brad Scott is now the new coach of Essendon. Be interesting to see what he does for them, but they're not really going to add much players. You'd think, I mean, maybe DeGoey, but that's it. And Essendon are just there because of their season. Freo's season, I'd say it's an A. It's an A, and it's a good A. Because Freo, all they wanted to do is really make the finals and play in a final. They did that, and they won. They got to a semi-final, which is even better. So I think they'd take that, and of course, we know where Geelong's going to go. They're going to be the best team, A+. Because they did win the premiership, of course. Very, very good season for the Cats. Joel Selwood announcing his retirement the other day. Now, for the Gold Coast Suns, this could be a bit too nice. I'm going to give it a B. I'm going to give it a B minus. It's a pretty good season. If you'd think, like, 12, I don't think that's their highest spot they've ever finished on the ladder. But they got the most wins ever in their history, or at least equaled it. Well, I think they got more percentage. So the Suns had their best season to date as being a club. And yeah, I'm liking what Stewie Dew's doing. They've already lost Rankin. They know they're going to lose Rankin, but they're going to bring in Thomas Berry immediately. And Ben Long as well. I like that. The only problem is they're trading away more draft picks. Like last season, they gave Brody and pick 19 up. And this season, they're doing Bose and pick 7. I've got to stop doing that. And GWS, their season was a hell to pay. It was probably worse than Essendon's. Even though people didn't see them being as worse. And the critics didn't go after the Giants as much. But now they certainly are. And with losses of Taranto and Hopper, the Giants could be my prediction for the wooden spoon next season. I'm definitely thinking about it. And Hawthorn, they had a pretty good season as well. Probably just better than Adelaide's. Put it in C. Hawthorn really have like this middle tier in between these two, really. It's just really, really hard to put Hawthorn any higher than that. But it's a pretty good season. You know, they were one of the only teams that bet Geelong. So I think they'd take that. They also bet Brisbane when they were travelling pretty well. They put up with Melbourne. They put up with us. They put up with the Dockers. They were quite good. And the D's. Now, our overall home and away season is an A-. But because they went out in straight sets, I'm going to put them in B with the Carlton and Gold Coast. Now, that's a little bit weird. But I'm going to do it. And I do think Melbourne deserve it for going out in straight sets. Now, this next one is going to be a bit of a goddamn giveaway. North Melbourne straight to the bottom. They are going to have a big restart with Clarko. Hopefully they can, you know, get something going. And Port Adelaide. Most people would grade Port Adelaide to B, but I'm going to grade them a C. They were a good side for a lot of the season, but that 0-5 start really killed them. And I personally think that ladder position is a little bit too high for what they did. A little bit too respectable. And Richmond, this is a hard one, because Richmond have been really good, but they were inconsistent as well. I'm going to put them in A. It was an A season for the Tigers. They got back into the finals. They got some young players in playing that final. And they really lost by luck in that game. That was really unlucky. And it was a bit unlucky, yeah. And, well, St Kilda as well, I'm going to give them a B-, behind Carlton, of course. They started the season really well. 0-3, I think it was. And then, they dropped, and they went to the finals, and then they weren't seen back in the finals after that. Then you got Sydney. Now, Sydney, I mean, I still got to give it an A+, even though they got smashed in the grand final. They had a very good season, the Swans. They just got to try and come back bigger and better. But because they got smashed in that grand final, I reckon we had a better season overall than them. I mean, what would you rather? Lose by a point in a prelim or lose by 80 in the grand final? Just think about that. And West Coast. West Coast season was pretty much just as bad as North's. They got smashed, and then they started to do a little bit better, but didn't really achieve much. This is a little bit all over the place, this ranking. Don't have any in D yet, so I'll push Adelaide and Hawthorn down. I'll leave Port there, and I'll push Gold Coast down, and I reckon that looks a bit better. And the Bulldogs, of course. I'm going to put them behind Carlton. I just don't think they were better than them. I just don't think they were better than them. So I have to put the Bulldogs there. In terms of the season. Plus, they're coming off a grand final loss. So it kind of makes more sense to put them there. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Grading each AFL team's season. I was probably a little bit biased with the Pies, but otherwise I reckon this is pretty accurate. Hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned. Some more videos on the channel. Of course, there'll be a big drop in uploads because the footy season is now ended. But I really hope that we can get some more subscribers as well. So please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.